The following program is underwritten by the Nevada Irrigation District. Since 1921, providing clean and healthy drinking and irrigation water to more than 24,000 homes, farms, schools, and businesses in Nevada and Placer counties.
Lew Sitzer. This is NCTV Interviews, and today we have quite a program introducing to you Alexander Rossi. If you don't already know him, you should, because he's a real race car champion. At 16 years old, with a great future ahead of him, and he's a local hometown hero at the age of 16, which is pretty hard to do. So welcome, Alexander.
Thanks for having me, Lew.
And it's a pleasure to get to know you. Alexander is a 4.0 student, recently graduated from high school and entering Sierra College, has done some college classwork already, and has done a lot of home studying as well as studying on the road. So your career has taken off. This is an introduction not only to Alexander, but to Team Rossi, because it's quite an effort. It needs more than a race car driver with a lot of talent.
Absolutely.
So please, start us off. Tell us how you got started, how you got interested, what motivated you.
Well, ever since I was a young child, even when I was in a stroller, my dad would take me to the races in Monterey, California, and to Laguna Seca. And I knew that it was always something that I wanted to do, was to be able to drive race cars at one point. And, you know, once, after about 4 or 5 years went by, the passion grew stronger and stronger on me. And my dad and I found out about a karting school that I could go to in Las Vegas, Nevada, where basically it was just the entry level to motorsports.
And what is a karting school for those folks?
A karting school is something where you go to and learn to drive in a go-kart that's very sophisticated and engineered to go fast. It's not like your local go-kart, it's a race kart.
Right, and what would you say makes it that?
Well, you know, just learning the basics is a lot easier to do in a go-kart that only weighs 300 pounds than a race car that weighs 1,200 pounds and can reach speed up to 160, 180 miles an hour. So definitely starting out in go-karts is a very good entry-level place to, you know, learn what you're doing in motorsports and learn how and what you need to do to get to the top levels.
And how did you do with go-karting?
It started off good. What I got started in was a very small go-kart, and I made the step up to a more elite go-kart 2 years after the karting school took place in Las Vegas. And after that, I knew that I could actually do this. I won a championship my second year in go-karting, and I was really confident that I could be a race car driver at one point.
And so the next step was what?
The next step was to keep karting and to win a national championship. And I did that in 2005. And from there, I made the step into race cars when I was 13. And it was truly an incredible experience to be driving a race car at such a young age, and to be able to say that I had the opportunity to do it at such a young age. And from there, I've just been working towards getting faster and getting better each time I go on the racetrack. And it's turning out pretty well. In 2006, I finished third in my first professional open wheel championship. And this past year, 2007, I finished third once again in a more elite, prestigious open wheel championship.
So a few things to consider, and frankly, Alexander has so many trophies and so many awards that it's hard to remember them all, but please correct me if I'm wrong. You're the youngest race car driver in U.S. history to win a national open race competition.
That's correct. I was the youngest driver, youngest driver at age 13 to win an open wheel championship, and that took place mostly on the west coast of the United States, as well as there was one race in Sebring, Florida, as well as a race in Las Vegas, Nevada.
So let's take a step into Alexander's world and look at where he is now with Formula BMW, because this is a huge step and part of the plan I know you have that we'll discuss in a bit. So let's take a look.
Very excited about having Alexander Rossi on our team this year.
At a very young age, Alexander Rossi has proven that he's really got what it takes.
One of the things that really brought him to my attention was how mature he was for his age, on and off the track. In the car, he never makes a mistake. He is very precise in his feedback.
This one's pretty special. He's 14 years old, very mature, and a hell of a good race car driver.
He shows a lot of promise, a lot of speed. This kid has a unique combination of disciplined aggression, talent, and skill that we haven't seen in a long time.
Okay, you fired up, Alex.
Well, that was quite a step into racing. I wonder if you would help the viewers understand that right now you're with Formula BMW.
That is correct.
And what categories have preceded you and what lies ahead?
Well, previous to this, I obviously, like I mentioned earlier, competed in go-karts, race cars. And last year, I made the step up into race cars full-time, running in the Skip Barber National Championship. And that is more or less a school championship that really helps young drivers show the nation, basically, that they have what it takes, because Skip Barber provides the cars for everyone to drive, and basically whoever wins was the best driver that day.
And you were judged Rookie of the Year?
I was Rookie of the Year. I won 3 races, and I finished 3rd in the points.
Right. Which is pretty incredible. What are the age range for people that you were racing against?
It was any age range from 16 to 24. I was the youngest at 14 and 15.
And it was your first year of competition in that?
National open wheel competition, yes.
So in terms of accomplishments, you're holding your own and maybe leading in terms of your age and performance. There hasn't been anyone to match you.
I'm certainly working on it, and I'm just pushing each day to get better, because there's always more to learn. There's always more there, not only on the racetrack but off the racetrack. So it's a lot of hard work and effort that goes into it, but it's very rewarding.
So, when people think of race car driving, they often think of danger, risks, high speeds, so what goes into the safety aspects and the safety aspects first, and then training to essentially condition yourself?
Well, first of all, the cars are extremely safe. They're made of carbon fiber, which is 10 times stronger than steel, yet 6 times lighter. It's virtually unbreakable, and it's what the entire car is made out of. Along those lines, I also have an 8-point harness in the car that keeps everything positioned, and in case of an accident, I'm really not going anywhere. I'm staying inside the car, and some people view that as dangerous. Why would you want to be in a car that's spinning out of control into a wall? Well, the car is so strong that it's very, very difficult to get hurt in a race car like this. And on top of the safety that I have in the race car, I also have my own personal safety gear. Like I brought here today, I have a fire suit, which is 5 layers of fire-resistant material, also known as Nomex. It's what the firefighters use. And it'll give you about 16 to 20 seconds to get out of a burning car. And, that's quite a bit of time in the racing world, so hopefully you'll be able to get out in time and, just escape with a few minor injuries. Also, in addition to the suit, I have my helmet, and this it's made of fiberglass. It's very, very strong, and it's obviously not only designed to keep my head safe from projectiles coming onto the track, but it's also designed aerodynamically to help inside the cockpit, help wind buffering be reduced quite a bit with the wing you see on the back. And also, something that's attached to the helmet is the Hans device, which stands for head and neck support. It's also made of carbon fiber, and it is very, very strong and very hard to break. And it protects your neck and your head in case of an accident from whiplash.
Well, it looks pretty good. It looks like you don't have a lot of movement and that you're really strapped in. So I would assume, though, with the racing you've done, you must have been in some accidents.
I have been in some accidents, and fortunately, I've come out okay in all of them. I've been a little shaken up. I've been disappointed in myself or in other drivers, but it's always been the most important thing first. My body and everything's okay. So the car's been a little beat up.
And that's an expensive proposition we'll deal with in a little bit. But just in terms of conditioning yourself, I don't think people understand the degree of conditioning a race car driver needs.
Yeah, it's very intense. What a lot of people don't know is that the car can pull G-forces up to 4 times your body weight. And how the car does this is it has a massive amount of grip, not only from the tires, but from the aerodynamics of the front and rear wing, as well as the underside of the car that's always pulling the car to the pavement. My race car, on average, will do 60 to 70 miles an hour more than your average street car. And with this comes a lot of lateral and physical forces that are being pressed upon your body, as well as the fact that your upper body needs to be very strong because the cars don't have power steering.
So when you're pulling 4 times your weight, assuming you weigh maybe, I'm just guessing, 150 pounds, that's so that's more like, 600 pounds on your body.
Yeah.
And what do you do to withstand that as you're turning corners and accelerating? I mean, how do you condition yourself? What does the program look like?
Well, I have a personal trainer that I go to 4 to 5 times a week, and what we focus on a lot is cardiovascular muscular training. It's very short, very difficult workouts that really focus and really stress your body so that when you do get in the race car, it almost feels easy compared to what I'm doing in the gym. And my trainer has a very good understanding of what my body goes through and what needs to be done for me to be able to be trained properly to get into the race car the next time I drive. And it's just a lot of hard work that goes into it, like I said. And on top of this, before I get in the car, almost every race I do a quick little jog to get the blood flowing and the heart pumping before I get in the race car.
So how often do you work out?
4 to 5 times a week, depending on my school schedule.
And so, of course, people need to recognize that you're sort of balancing a lot of things here. You're balancing your studies and the study of race car driving, because it sounds like you do a lot of data analysis, and maybe you could talk about that.
Absolutely. The cars are equipped with a very high-tech electronic analysis system. That is, the car has over 200 sensors that is constantly recording information, and it's being stored on the car's hard drive, basically. And after a 30-minute session or a race, the team and my engineer can plug the laptop into the car and download all the information onto a program, and everything is shown to me and my engineers in graphs. So we can study that for an hour and a half, and it'll show everything from what the motor's doing to the stiffness and the dampening of the springs and how much spring rate they're moving, how many millimeters are getting thrusted upon the tires. It's everything. And it's very important to understand what the car can do what the car can do on the track technologically, so that when you are driving the car, you have confidence that it'll be there for you when you're pushing the limit.
It sounds like you're training to become an engineer. I mean, it sounds like the systems that you're studying are, require a lot of study.
Absolutely, and I am also taking a lot of math classes and science classes to help me get a better understanding of what the car and, the engineering side of motorsports.
Right. So the education of Alexander goes on. It's also a fair amount of travel. And one of the things I've learned is that not only is Alexander involved in the racing, but there's a lot of testing that happens beforehand to work out the bugs of racing with your team and to get all the data and practice you need for the actual race. Absolutely.
There's a lot of preparation that goes into each race weekend. And the testing that you mentioned was, it's a lot of on-track, I should say, studies of the car. It could be a 5-lap session or a 40-lap session. And we're trying different things with the car, with the tires, with the aerodynamics. And, it's just trial and error, basically. We try a few things for these weather conditions, for this dust, for even a very hot, sticky day. And so that when we do get to the racetrack that we're going to, we know what to expect and what we need to do in case of some sudden condition changes.
Well, let's take a break and look at some photographs that we've assembled that give another perspective on your life and what you do when you're not studying the books.
Absolutely. This was my first podium in Miller Motorsports Park, which is located in Salt Lake City, Utah. And it was my first race that I competed in Formula BMW USA. And it was my first podium, so it was a very happy moment. This was in San Jose, California, down the streets of downtown San Jose. And this was my first win in Formula BMW USA. This was on the podium in San Jose. I was next to my teammate, and it was a very special moment because it was a team that I had just switched to mid-year, and I was very happy to be up on the podium at such a prestigious event with my teammate. This was taken at the season finale in Toronto, Canada, and this is the team that I drove for the last half of the year, Team Apex Racing USA. This was about a month ago in Valencia, Spain, which is outside of Barcelona, at the Formula BMW World Finals.
So you're traveling,
Absolutely.
Again, out internationally.
Yeah, and this was at the apex of one of the corners. It's about 80 to 90 miles an hour right here.
And where was that?
That was also in Spain.
Okay.
This is once again in Spain at the track out of a corner, 100% throttle, going to the next corner.
And so what speeds are you reaching in your straightaways?
The car on that track, we were reaching speeds around 130. This is a look down into the cockpit. You can see the 8-point harness, obviously the steering wheel, and the safety gear and the head harness that goes into not only the safety of me, but the safety of other drivers.
So are you pretty pumped up? Is your adrenaline high, or do you keep your heartbeat low? How does that work?
My adrenaline and heartbeat are very high at the start of the race. They're standing starts, and you go basically when all the lights go out. So up until that point, my heartbeat is racing, but once I get into the rhythm of the race, it slows down. This was once again in Spain with my new team, Euro International. We're pushing back into the garage.
So is this like a pit stop?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what I was talking about earlier, data analysis with one of my engineers. This is also in Spain with my teammate. We are in the timing stand, seeing how the other drivers are faring on the track and what lap times they're running.
And there's a lot of scrutiny of the race car itself, isn't there, to see that everything is according to the book?
Yeah, that goes after the events. It's called tech, post-tech, and basically at the end of the main event, they tear the entire car down and make sure that everything is legit. And oftentimes people get caught pushing the rules a little bit, and they get caught for it.
Right. And I think one of the things that folks don't realize that this is more than Alexander. When we talk about Team Rossi, we're not only talking about his mom and dad, who have devoted years of support and lots of finances, but a whole team of sponsors. It's an expensive proposition to be a race car driver.
Yes, it really is, and I've been very fortunate to get to this point. I've been driving for almost 6 years now, and it's been a long road, and there's an even longer one ahead of us, and I look forward to the challenge.
So let's talk about that. I know you've got a 5-year plan.
I do. The 5-year plan, when I'm 21, my goal is to be a Formula One test driver. But you can't just go from being Formula BMW to Formula One. Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsports. It's the best of the best drivers. Only 22 in the world get to be a Formula One driver, and thousands hope and dream to be a Formula One driver. So the next step after 2008 of me doing Formula BMW USA again would be moving to Europe full-time and competing in the series over there on the continuation up the ladder to Formula One.
So that's quite an independent venture for someone your age.
Yeah, it is, and it's very difficult because a lot of the corporate companies in America don't really understand what open wheel racing, what amount of marketing that could be brought to it. They mostly think of NASCAR when I talk of race cars. So it's very difficult to raise funding in America, but it's very possible. It's been done before, and we certainly hope it can be done again.
Right. I know that there haven't been many American drivers that have succeeded at the international level, and I'm not sure why that is. Can you talk about that and your own prospects?
Well, the Europeans don't really have a high respect for the American drivers. I really don't know why this is. They just feel that in motorsports that they're better and faster than us. So in order for an American driver to climb the ranks of European racing, you have to prove yourself and you have to be very fast.
And you have to be in Europe.
Absolutely.
And so I know it's an international sport, the Formula One and all the ways up to Formula One. But it sounds like it's European-based, even though it has races elsewhere in the world, Asia. Where else in the world does it race?
There's one race in Canada, and they're trying to get a race in the United States. There has been for the past couple of years, but it became non-existent in 2008. So hopefully at one point there will be a Formula One race back in the United States, but we don't know when that'll be.
And I know that at the end of the program, we're going to be showing the races that you'll be entering this year, and the last one that I noticed is in Brazil.
Absolutely. That is going to be at the Formula One season finale. It's our finale, and it's Formula One's finale, so I'm definitely going to be racing in front of a very big crowd of a couple 100,000 people.
And have you been to South America before?
I have not.
All right. So this is, as a retired school teacher, something I have always told my students: if you want a good education, be sure to travel. And it sounds like you're getting that.
Yeah, I'm certainly trying.
And you've been to Spain. Where else have you traveled?
Spain is the only out of the continent that I've been. I've been to Canada quite a few times, and I've been across the U.S. anywhere from obviously California to Florida to Virginia to Utah, Wisconsin, every state you can name.
It's great, and we'll have a listing of those races as well at the end of the show. But I wanted to, looks like we're going to talk about it anyway. Your personal sponsors, and we're listing them now. Because it is Team Rossi, and because it does cost a lot of money, a lot of people have invested in you and Team Rossi. What's that like?
It's a very good feeling that I get from people that have that they have so much confidence and faith that I'll be able to perform and, make their name look good. So I've had a lot of help from the community, and I really can't thank them enough.
And it sounds like you're really handling the pressure well. Here's the list of races now. Laguna Seca is in the Monterey area.
Yes.
And Montreal, Canada, Cleveland, Ohio, Lime Rock, Connecticut. Where's Road America?
It's going to be in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, and then Toronto and Sao Paulo. So that's, and your schedule also is year-round in the sense that, well, you're racing from May through November, but really it's year-round.
Absolutely. Right now it's classified as the off-season because we aren't really driving the cars right now, but it's a lot of off-track work, raising money, figuring out personal sponsorship, and, just preparing physically.
And I'm sorry we have to draw the program to a close, but I really want to encourage you to support Team Rossi. Contact Alexander. Websites will be listed. Maybe we can quickly bring it to a close and play the website. So thanks for watching NCTV, and tune in again. Good job.